Hello everyone. Welcome to our series of Trade Commissioner Market Briefing Sessions on Korea. I'm Tudor Hera, the Minister Counselor and Senior Trade Commissioner at the Canadian Embassy in Seoul. Today, we will introduce to you the Korean life sciences sector. Let us start, however, with a few facts about Korea. Korea is located in Northeast Asia and is virtually an island since its borders are with North Korea and the sea. Its closest neighbors are China, its largest commercial partner, and Japan, with which it shares a complicated history but a strong economic connection. Korea is about the same size as New Brunswick, making it 100 times smaller than Canada. However, its population is over 52 million, with over a third of people living in the Greater Seoul area. About 7 years ago, by the end of the Korean War, the country was in ashes, with a GDP per capita of less than $100. It was, for all intents and purposes, the poorest country in the world. Following the devastation of the Korean War, however, South Korea began a process of export-led economic development, which resulted in an annual growth rate of 5.4% since 1987. Today, after what is called the Korean economic miracle, its economy is the 11th largest in the world and the 4th largest in Asia. The per capita GDP is over $42,000, making it one of Asia's most attractive, dynamic, and advanced consumer markets. Indeed, it is one of only 7 countries in the world belonging to the 30-50 club. Countries that have a population of over 50 million people and a per capita GDP of at least 30,000. With companies that you know well, such as LG, Samsung, Hyundai and Kia, and SK, Korea is a leader in high-end electronic goods, automobiles, semiconductors, 5G internet, shipbuilding, nuclear technology, steel making, as well as the arts. Who hasn't heard of K-pop and the K-film industry? Much of the development of this expertise has been government-driven. Today, the Korean government has identified the life science sector as the next growth engine to open the post-IT industry era, as well as to address the issues related to its aging population and low birth rate. As a result, we are seeing major investments in research and development and an unwavering commitment to innovation, making South Korea an attractive market for innovative Canadian companies looking to expand to Asia through business or R&D partnerships. With commitment and preparation, many Canadian companies are finding success here in Korea in this sector, and I hope you will join them. My team is here to help you with market preparation, such as today's webinar, but also with personalized business advice and matchmaking or troubleshooting services. Don't hesitate to call on us.
It's my great honor and pleasure to brief you about the Korean pharmaceutical industry today. I'm Yoonbin Kim, an executive consultant at the Korea Health Industry Development Institute, a government affiliate under the Ministry of Health and Welfare of the Republic of Korea. The healthcare industry has an essential role of keeping people healthy and saving lives. It was even more highlighted during the recent COVID-19 pandemic. We've also experienced the importance of cooperation between the country government and the industry at both domestic and international levels. I hope my presentation can give you a good overview on the Korean pharmaceutical industry and market, so it can be helpful for you to find partnering opportunities in Korea. Korea is one of the leading global economic powers with advanced technology. Total R&D investment as a portion to the national GDP takes second place among OECD countries, and the global market share of ICT products ranked as 6th. Following its fast and dramatic successes in IT industry, the Korean government chose biohealth as the next growth engine and established a systematic government supporting plan to foster and promote the industry. Since the emergence of the first modern-style pharmaceutical company in 1890s, the Korean pharma industry has taken steps toward securing the public health by domestic manufacturing, quality assurance through the introduction of KGMP in 1978, product patent system implementation in 1987, and its first new drug development in 1999. Now, Korea is fully ready to make another global success story in biotechnology industry. Let me start with market analysis. As of 2020, the Korean pharmaceutical market is valued around 23 trillion Korean won, which represents 13th largest market in the world, with the global market share of 1.2%. For your easy translation between the currencies, you can take 1,000 Korean won as 1 Canadian dollar. If you see the details, there have been continuous growing in all aspects of industry, most notably in export, with 5-year compound annual growth rate of 28.8%. The top country in export was Germany in 2020, followed by US, Japan, Turkey, and China. We import the most from the US, followed by Germany, China, UK, and Switzerland. The growth in biopharma was even more dramatic in recent 5 years. As of 2020, Korea's biopharma market is valued about 3.3 trillion Korean won, with the 5-year CAGR of 16%. Again, in biopharmaceuticals, export amount is far more than import, and the major trading countries are as shown in the slide. I hope we can find Canada in these lists in near future. The amount of domestic production was continuously growing, and in 2020, its value was around 24.6 trillion Korean won, and that of biopharmaceutical reached about 3.9 trillion Korean won in 2020. This production amount represents 1.3% of South Korean national GDP. Now, let's look into the status of Korean pharmaceutical companies and products. There are 381 Korean domestic companies for drug products production and 272 companies for drug substances production, while there are overlaps exist between the categories. The Korean government also introduced an industrial incentive system called K-InnoFarm for focused public support for R&D capacity building and strengthening global competitiveness. Until 2020, the total of 48 companies have been designated. Based upon the amount of production, Celltrion was ranked as the top local pharmaceutical company in 2020, followed by Hanmi and Jonggeundang. 8 out of the top 10 companies were growing versus the previous year, and especially production at Celltrion was increased almost 3 times upon market approvals of its second biosimilar product. If we go further details to the product level, SK Bioscience KSL Flu 4 vaccine was the #1 product in terms of finished product production, and Celltrion's Remsima SC was top ranked in API production. Since the Korean pharma industry started full-scale manufacturing of finished products and chemical APIs in 1960s, it has been well expanded to biopharmaceuticals. Another recent good example is that Korea has positioned as a key manufacturing partner for major COVID-19 vaccine developers such as AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Novavax. Korea's domestic OTC market size is estimated at 3.2 trillion won in 2020, and about 20 OTC products exceed annual sales of 10 billion Korean won. The top-selling OTC product was Gasu Halmyeongsu, which was the first OTC product in Korea, launched 125 years ago. As for biopharmaceutical production by type, genetic recombination takes about half of the market, with annual production amount of 2 trillion Korean won, followed by vaccines, plasma-derived products. We are moving to the industrial R&D profiles. Pharmaceutical industry typically needs a high level of R&D investment, and it is not exceptional to Korean companies. Taking examples of top 10 local companies, all are putting significant portion of their revenue back to the R&D investment, and there have been many of positive outcomes. In 2021 alone, there were 11 tech transfer deals from Korean companies to global pharma partners, including one Canadian company. Also, many of Korean origin products made entries to the global market. This is the list of new chemical drugs, incrementally modified drugs, and generic products that have obtained US FDA and EMA approval since 2015. And there is a longer list for biopharma products. Samsung Bioepis and Celltrion are two major players in this field. Thanks to their aggressive R&D investment, the companies have obtained market approvals for 5 products each in recent 10 years. I'm confident that a lot more of Korean companies will appear in this list with novel biologics in next 10 years. Korea is emerging as a core clinical trial destination in Asia. 22 local health institutes and hospitals, including Seoul National University Hospital, Samsung Medical Center, and Asan Medical Center, have won global certifications for their clinical study environment. Korea takes the second place in Asia in terms of the number of clinical trials, following China, and especially Seoul was the single city where the most number of clinical trials were conducted. Talking about R&D status on COVID-19 vaccines and treatment, there are 11 vaccine candidates in local pipeline, and it is very positive that 2 or 3 of the listed will file for market approvals within this year. For treatment, there are 13 drug candidates currently under clinical development, and the Korean government has established lots of new R&D investment platform to support these development programs. I want to close my presentation by suggesting KIDI as a Korean local contact point to your business. KIDI is doing an entire range of activities for the Korean health industry, from policy development to business support. Especially for the purpose of fostering healthcare industry and supporting business, KIDI is providing consultation services throughout the whole value chain process of the health industry, to which I'm also contributing. If you are looking for a Korean partner for business opportunities, which can be of benefit to the Korean health industry, we'll be happy to assist you. Again, thank you for this opportunity, and I hope you gained a better understanding on the Korean pharmaceutical market and industry during my presentation. I wish you all the best for your business and partner search in Korea. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jimin Kim and I am a Trade Commissioner at the Embassy of Canada in the Republic of Korea. I am delighted to meet you all. For the last 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused the global health crisis gradually paralyzing the economy, society, and everyday lives. Amid this global crisis, however, we see this one particular industry in the spotlight, and that is the life sciences sector. We believe that Canada and South Korea's strengths in the life sciences sector are well aligned, suggesting a potential to collaborate in various bio and pharma industry subsectors. Following the Korean market briefing presentation, we wanted to ask some questions to the market expert in the life sciences sector. Today, we have our special guest, Mr. Paul Lee. Paul Lee is a general manager of Gilead Sciences Korea. Paul is also serving the Trade Commissioner's service as a volunteer mentor in Canada's Global Mentor Program. Paul, would you please say hello to TCS clients and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Lee. I'm honored to share with you my thoughts about the life sciences sector in Korea. I've been working in Korea for the past 25 years in the pharmaceutical market, and I've seen how the market has evolved over time.
Thank you, Paul. Now, let me dive into the most important question. Can you please tell us why Korea is an attractive market for foreign life sciences companies?
Sure. I can share with you about some of the key aspects of Korea's pharmaceutical market. First, Korea has a sizable population of 52 million people, and almost everyone is covered by national health insurance. The government has been increasing healthcare expenditures. In a recent worldwide ranking of best hospitals by the Newsweek dated April 12th this year, there are 6 Korean hospitals among the top 100 hospitals. Korea's physicians are leading investigators in global clinical trials. Korea has advanced IT infrastructure. Finally, Korea has well-educated population who are early adopters of new technology, both as consumers and as providers in healthcare.
Thank you very much for the summary. So then how about the partnership opportunities for Canadian companies with local Korean companies? What kind of partnership opportunities are there and in which area?
Sure. There are many partnerships between leading foreign pharmaceutical companies and Korea's leading local companies on multiple fronts. I can categorize the partnership into co-promotion, research, and manufacturing at a high level. Because Korea has many primary care clinics nationwide, it is quite common for a foreign company to partner with a local company in a co-promotion agreement to optimize sales force deployment. Through such partnership, the foreign company does not have to make a lot of investment in sales force. The local company can utilize its sales force to co-promote the products of the foreign company. This is a win-win solution for both the foreign company and the local company. Recently, there have been a lot of announcements of research collaboration between foreign companies and local companies in the life sciences sector. As Korea's leading local companies begin to make progresses in new drug development, partnerships with global pharmaceutical companies enable synergistic outcomes.
That sounds great. Can you give us an example?
As an example, a local company has developed an innovative new drug candidate, but does not have the expertise and resources to further develop the drug candidate into a fully approved new drug at a global scale. The foreign company who is interested in the Korean company's drug candidate partners with the local company to conduct global clinical trials and collaborate on later stage of drug development. Finally, Korea's leading local companies are renowned for high quality of their API manufacturing capabilities. Many foreign companies look to Korea as a source of manufacturing. So in summary, Korea is attractive as a market and also as centers of excellence for innovation and for manufacturing.
That's great. What else can you tell us more about the Korea's strength in the life sciences market?
Seoul has been consistently rated as a top city for global clinical trials. 20% of Korea's 52 million people live in the Greater Seoul area. Seoul has many leading hospitals with passionate and capable investigators. This makes Seoul a popular city to conduct global clinical trials. Because of the positive outcome and successful track record in Seoul, the clinical trial centers have now expanded to leading provincial cities as well.
Indeed. Having today's talk, we can assure that Korea is a market with a greater potential. Thank you very much for your valuable insights today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you. I hope our market briefing presentation and discussion with Paul Lee were helpful for you to understand the Korean life sciences market better. If you're not familiar with the Trade Commissioner Service, we have the mandate to promote Canadian economic interests in the global marketplace. Therefore, our activities in Korea focus on B2B matchmaking, providing market intelligence, and finding new business opportunities for Canadian companies. We also facilitate joint R&D collaboration to help innovative Canadian companies to partner with Korean companies. Please visit our TCS website, tradecommissioner.gc.ca, for more information. Thank you very much.